So after we do the small group brainstorm, I ask them to come prepared for Text Talk Time. And Text Talk Time is a discussion structure that I created in order to give the kids an opportunity to talk about a text that we had been reading during the week. It's an opportunity for them to call the shots and to discuss what they were thinking when they read the text. And it's also an opportunity for me to ask questions that challenge them and that I'll later expect them to respond to in writing.
Before we get started, I want to go over the expectations like we do every single time. One person speaks at a time. And lately, remember, we've been kind of talking about how sometimes we get excited and we all start joining in and blurting out, and that's okay every once in a while. That happens in normal conversation. But we just remember that if I call for the zero noise signal, that we're all going to come back as a group and hear one person. Listen carefully. Fully to the speaker, right? You don't know if you're adding something if you're not listening to what someone else said, right? So you need to listen carefully. And use hand signals. So 2 fingers if you have something to add onto what somebody has already said, and thumbs up if you have something new to say.
I use a strategy of hand signals in order to promote active listening. I also use hand signals to help me facilitate the conversation.
Oh wow, lots of thinking.
This strategy has been really effective because raising your hand wasn't enough. It gives students an opportunity to show me that they have something to say.
Phineas, you have something new to say, looks like. Okay.
I have 2 questions.
Pose them to the group.
Okay, so the first one is, what happened to the ship after they left? The ship that was gonna come and they waited?
Can we go to that part? Do you know what page it said that on so we can?
I think. Well, we heard that in the beginning that.
For the first 20 minutes of the conversation, I'm just choosing students and trying to give turns to an equal number of students from different parts of the circle. I'm the facilitator in this discussion.
Natalia, you have something to add?
It's also on Sacagawea. It was hard probably for her because she had her baby with her. And to go around that river and stuff, like babies, like we were talking about in our group, babies need a lot of good care. And it would be hard to go through all that, especially with a baby.
Do we have evidence that Sacagawea was with them when they crossed the falls? I know. Yes. I don't think she was with them the whole time. Devontae, do you see where there's evidence?
In the picture, it shows Sacagawea. She's pointing at the falls, and Lewis and Clark and a slave, they're like, Sacagawea is like pointing that they might die in the falls, so they probably have to go around it.
And since I know that this is a narrative nonfiction, and we've been learning about how in nonfiction, the pictures and the captions, that gives us lots of information, we could probably be pretty sure that Sacagawea was with them and that this picture is placed here to give us that information.
Next, I give them questions that I expect them to write about once we're done with Text Talk Time.
Let me pose these questions to you so we can get a little bit of talking about this before I send you out to write. I'm gonna take us back to viewpoint. It's not why the author wrote, but how the author feels about something. How does the author feel about Lewis and Clark? So will you take a minute and turn and talk to the person sitting next to you about what you're thinking about this question? What do you think how do you think the author feels about Lewis and Clark?
After I pose a question to the group, I give the students an opportunity to turn and talk as a way to give them a few minutes to talk and think about possible answers before they feel like they need to share that with the whole group.
Who thinks they found some evidence to back up what they think about how the author feels about Lewis and Clark? Let's go to Alyssa.
It says on page 644, from St. Louis, Lewis and Clark traveled to Washington, D.C., and almost every town they passed through, they brought bands to welcome them as heroes, which meant that like whenever they came in, everyone's like cheering and like congratulate them. And so like the author like put that in to make everyone feel that they're heroes.
Yeah. Okay. So you would say that the author feels like Lewis and Clark were heroes?
The next question was, what is the author's viewpoint about exploring? and I provided them with the sentence frame to start their answer. The author thinks exploring is...
If you were going to fill in this sentence, how would you fill it in? The author thinks exploring is...
I think it's exciting because you could find out new stuff about different things you never knew about.
Okay. Like here on 644, I noticed connecting with what you were saying, that it's exciting because you found things I'd never found before. Like on page 644, it says, the expedition returned with numerous samples of plant and animal life that had never been seen by American scientists.
Especially in those times, it's the North America wasn't North America yet. It was called the New World. Yeah, so it was pretty interesting to them because they found new plants, new animals, new stuff they could use.
And on 641, I noticed that he said, I found a descriptor word, they emerged from the Rocky Mountains into the lovely valley of Clearwater River. If an author's using an opinion word like lovely, that's sort of showing how they feel about something. So I'm thinking that it's time to change gears. We need to get up and go back to our desks and start getting our minds ready for writing.
In today's discussion, I posed the question about how the author feels about exploring, how the author feels about Lewis and Clark, with the expectation that the students were going to pull evidence from the text to support those statements. That's challenging work, and I knew that it would be pretty challenging for the students to work on individually in writing, so doing all that difficult thinking together in a group while they had support and they could hear other ideas is helpful for them, and I think it makes it easier for them to write about it individually later. The standards I addressed in this text talk time were speaking and listening standard on engaging in a collaborative discussion and being prepared for a discussion. They had to come prepared. But also the reading standard of quoting accurately from a text to support your thinking.